This Rosie the Riveter series is sponsored locally by Ridgecrest Village in Davenport, Iowa. Ridgecrest is a nonprofit continuing care facility dedicated to serving those who have served. They are a proud home to Honor Flight of the Quad Cities. And STEAM Team 5, a young reader book series about 5 amazing girls who use science, technology, engineering, art, and math to solve problems on epic adventures. Books are available on Amazon and STEAMteam5.com. Hi, I'm Gary Metivier. Just because America joined World War II, of course, did not mean victory was guaranteed. In fact, everything this country stood for was now at stake. And Rosie the Riveter was about to show the entire world what we can do.
America goes to war.
America jumped right into a war that would test its might and its ability to make enough equipment to win that war. Factories that made cars now made tanks. And for the first time in American history, women were at the helm, performing jobs many of them never imagined. 6 million women poured into factories for war production. But what kind of work could they do?
Men would have done it, probably, if it hadn't been that there weren't many men around. We were all females.
You have to go and take a government test. So we went to the Government Employment Agency and we took math tests, English tests, typing tests, shorthand tests, anything that we felt that we had a talent. They came to me one morning and said, "Corinne, will you come with us?" And I said, yes. I got up and left.
She thought she would end up in the typing pool, but they had much bigger plans for her talents. Try tanks.
It's our job to, he would call the major metal steel companies like Bethlehem Steel and the other steel companies in the United States. And we were to supply the metal for the tanks, for the bogie wheels that the tanks rolled on.
As a little girl growing up on a farm, did you ever think that you'd be taking part in making tanks?
Heavens, I didn't know there was such a thing as a tank. It was a horse. It was just before the tractor age boom. Farm and hand labor. You know, we didn't even have electricity on our farm, nor did we have running water. It was before the electricity came through the countryside, where they electrified all the farms.
So this was a huge change for you.
Huge. It was like just stepping off into magic and getting paid for it.
Some were building the ships and the airplanes and the tanks and the bullets, and all of that is required to fight a war.
All the day long, whether rain or shine, she's a part of the assembly line.
Rosie the Riveter was born. It started as a government propaganda campaign to encourage women to go to work, to help end the war and get the men home. The fictional character that would become a cultural icon portrayed a woman building aircraft, suggesting that those that didn't go to work would be slackers. Well, American women were certainly not slackers, and were about to show the world that we can do it was more than just some slogan.
I was hired as a riveter. They changed me to B-29, which I worked in the wing part. I didn't like that very well because it was close quarters and you had to kind of go this way and that way, and it was tight. I had to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to catch my ride, and then we worked 7 days a week.
So on the day that you found out that you got the job, do you remember that feeling?
I was very patriotic. I was ready to go. I was going to, you know, to think I was going to do something for the war effort. It made me feel good.
I worked on the bulkheads of the P-38s, and that's, the bulkhead is where they
where the instruments go for the pilots. And that's what I did. We put them together.
What was that work like?
Well, I was a bucker there. And Helen, this other girl, was a riveter. And she got sick because she was pregnant. And so she left and they put me to rivet only about 2 weeks there. So everybody says, oh, you were a riveter fan. Well, I was more of a bucker than I was a riveter, but that's okay too. We could do anything.
Tell me what the process was like, and I mean, were your hands tired at the end of the day from doing this?
Well, the bucking was harder, much harder, I think, than the riveting, because the bucker had to push so hard.
How many of those rivets do you
This is the head,
Okay,
and this is the tail.
okay.
I had a partner. I did the bucking most of the time. You know what bucking is?
You're going to tell me, I think.
I thought about it. Now I'm not sure.
Please tell me.
It's on the back side of the rivet after the rivet's been put through the aluminum.
So the bucking is on the back, and the rivet's on the front?
Right. You got it.
Did you ever think as a little kid that you would be building airplanes someday?
No.
Why not?
I didn't know hardly what an airplane was.
What was it like when you completed that first airplane, that first big project?
Honey, that was so long ago, I have no idea.
The airplane that I worked on was called, it was a B-26, and they call it the Widowmaker. I never got to see the finished project, you know, when the plane was finished and was rolled out of the hamper and flew away. I never got to see that. I missed that. I wanted to see that so bad.
But you know in your heart.
But I knew in my heart that it had gone, and some pilot was going to fly it.
For the most part, the first to fly them would be called WASP, Women Air Force Service Pilots, who ferried the plane stateside to be in position for the combat pilots. And with the work came some drama, intrigue. For Frances, one moment was like something out of a movie or spy novel.
One day we kept getting those in crooked, and they couldn't figure out why the crap we're getting these in crooked. Well, it happened to be that this girl that did the buckets of these had offset them just enough that when we did, they would go in crooked. So they find that she was a German spy. That's what happened. And we never saw her anymore. Never heard anything about it even. That was into that.
Traced the bad work to a German spy that was
Yeah, that's what she was doing.
How well did you know her?
We didn't know her. She's in another department.
The work was hard, the days were long with no end in sight.
I worked 10-hour shifts, 7 days a week.
They gave everything, not just for a paycheck, but out of patriotic duty and personal pride. They were saving lives with every piece they made. Archie knew some American planes were running out of fuel and falling into the ocean.
And it would go on a B-24 plane in the bomb base section and support an auxiliary gas tank. And the planes, before they developed this, would have trouble getting back from bombing Germany and Europe.
How did you feel when you found out that your work was saving lives?
Oh, well, we knew it. We were a very close-knit group, and we knew we were doing something great.
But the war was taking its toll, both overseas and at home.
In the place that I was working, there were ladies that were married to, and their husbands were at war. And sometimes some of them would get a notice that their husband had been killed, you know, and they still came back to work, you know. And that really set me, you know, because it's very hard to comfort somebody that has lost a loved one like that. But she never gave up, never came up every day, every day. She was there, she was there.
Did that make you work a little bit harder?
Yeah, yeah, harder, harder, harder.
Sacrifice of so many, the country had come together like never before. And thanks to women at work, the tide of the war was turning. Know a Rosie? Leave a comment. Don't forget to subscribe. Episode 3 is next.